Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and get rolling. I know there's some other people who are going to jump on here, but I want to make this happen. I have to turn on my video. Okay, there we go. We're going to go ahead and get started. I appreciate everybody for jumping on. So, really quick, who am I? My short bio here. Dr. Jeff Gamble. I am a traditional naturopathic doctor. I'm out of Indianapolis, Indiana, which is the center of the country. I was told by a bunch of famous people if the world ended, they all want to move here. The reason being is we will find out about it 2 years after it happens. So it'll give you some time, right? We do own several businesses. So, you're like, why am I listening to this person? I just kind of wanted to cover that. So we do have a traditional holistic health practice here in Indianapolis. There's 11 of us who work here. I also own a traditional real estate company where we buy, sell, and invest. I own an investment company where we buy and sell property and land and flip land. And then my leadership network is just a training company, not specific to any one company, but we help people recruit, team build, run, and build events so people know how to do that. And then growth and achievement, like the tracking side of things. I've been in direct sales for over 30 years. And what I want to tell you about, what we're going to talk about tonight, is I've had the fortunate ability to see some trends in the industry. And, if you go back to the 70s, there was companies in the 60s that blew up, that got started and they made their run, all the way back to Avon and Mary Kay. And then, the 70s and 80s were really dominated by a couple companies, Amway being one of them. Many people had heard about that company as it took off. It still exists today. These are some of the big legacy companies. Amway then, ran its course and, got really huge and then went overseas. In the late 90s, Excel Communications came out, and, that was just a boom because they changed the market. And every about 10 years, there's a company that comes along and changes the market, and they're the one of the dominant companies. Noni Juice was another one that came along that just blew it up. Monavie, if you were around for that and saw that company. And then in the last couple years, there were some coffee companies that did it. There were some skincare companies that did it. And I constantly get contacted because I've put several thousand people in direct sales. I get approached a lot. I look at a lot of things. And what I can tell you is I've never seen anything quite like this, what we're going to share tonight. So I'm going to give you the details of what it is we're doing. If it is something you're interested in, you're going to get back with the person who brought you here. And then we'll show you how to get rolling. So with that, we're going to jump into this. Now, why would you even want to look at a company? Specifically MWR and Travel Advantage. Number one, I think is to make more money and make money from anywhere. Brandy and I, because, we have our practice and we have our different businesses, we make really good money. And here was my plan. I wanted one six-figure income that basically paid all our bills. I wanted another six-figure income that basically paid off debt and accumulated money. And I wanted a third six-figure income from our investments or more. We've been able to accomplish two and a half of those so far. And when this came along and Michelle, who, referred this to me, I basically said, I'll look at it, but I'm really not looking for anything, but I'm always looking to make more money. Number two is to buy back time. Brandy and I run around a lot with, our real estate company, our investment company. We're constantly looking at properties. And I said, how nice would it be to be able to work from anywhere, from a laptop, from a cell phone, where time is not an issue, where the country is not an issue, where the language is not an issue. Number three is to create more security. Obviously, if you have another income that pays all your bills, that's pretty nice. Many of us, I'm sure, either were affected directly or know somebody was affected by COVID. Outside of COVID, I have friends in Carolina that got hit by the storms. I have friends in Texas that got hit by storms. I have friends, years ago that were in New Orleans that got hit by the hurricanes. So, there's always something going on, and it just makes more sense. I was told if you could have $1,000 in one, if you were shown $1,000 in one hand and $500 in another, they said, which one would you take? And the answer should be both, right? The answer should be both, not one or the other. Number four is to help other people. I've found when you have money and you have time and you have security, the only thing left to do is go help other people. And then last but not least, people are looking to have fun. They're looking for experiences. They're looking for entertainment. So if that list applies to you, any of that list applies to you, stay tuned. We're going to cover how you're going to do that. So MWR Life, there's 6 areas really I was taught to evaluate when I was looking at any company. This is not my list. This is actually a list that came from Harvard. MIT took this list. Stanford took this list. And they said, if you're going to look at an opportunity, what do you look for? Number one thing that you should look for is really the industry overall that you're in. Is it a growing industry? Is it an industry that can go somewhere? Number two is the leadership. Who is behind it? We're going to cover that. If there's good people behind it, good people can figure out anything. If there's bad people, it doesn't matter how good the industry is, bad people will screw up anything. The company itself, is the company solid? What's the financial backing? Where are they located? Et cetera, et cetera. The products themselves. Are the products competitive? Are they something nobody's seen before? What are you dealing with price wise? What's your competition? Number five is the compensation itself. How are we getting paid? We're going to cover that. And then the timing of what's going on. We're going to hit all these. So a little bit about the travel industry. I wondered, why should I even look at the travel industry? I knew it was big. I knew it was big. I didn't know how big it was, because I had been introduced to the coffee company, and I was told the coffee company is one of the biggest companies in the world, and it really is, the coffee industry. But when you look at coffee compared to travel, it's 100x bigger. 100x bigger. I was also in the skincare slash, feel better, look better industry. And, even if you 10x that, you really are you're only a third of the way there, to the size of the travel industry. So I looked up some travel statistics. I actually got a lot of this from ChatGPT. I was like, how big is the travel industry? What are some interesting facts about travel? $8.8 trillion industry. The travel industry is 10% of the world GDP. Which means 1 out of 10 jobs in the world is somehow related to travel, which totally makes sense because you don't fly anywhere. All those ships and shipping containers, all the trucks on the road. I mean, all the everything seems to be, somehow connected to travel. The world doesn't run without travel. The United States is 1.9 trillion of, actually I think it's 2.9. I think that's a typo error. 2.9 trillion of the 8.8 trillion. 80% of travelers actually use their phone to book all the trips, and then the average American spends $2,700 a year on travel. So when people are like, well, I don't know if people would travel that often, that's what people are spending, about $2,700 a year, which, what is that in numbers wise? About $250 a month. So the leadership. I actually was put on a Zoom with the founder, with Yanni, and I got to hear his story. And I'm just going to give you the cliff notes. It's much better to hear it directly from him. If you'd like a video, there's a great video by Jen. Jen's one of the people who actually helped open the United States and Canada, along with Brenda and several other people. But Yanni's story is he was actually born. He was born in Russia. His family was like, Russia just isn't the right place opportunity wise. He said it was very difficult there for his family. So they actually moved to the Middle East. They found that the Middle East was dangerous, and had problems. So they ended up moving to Canada, British Columbia, and that's where he grew up, went to school. After school, he, went to college, and after college, he basically went into investment banking. He did very, very well financially in investment banking, became a musician for a couple years. After a couple years of being a musician, he realized, hey, this is going to be really hard to build a family. So he found out one of his family members was actually selling condos in Panama. So he actually got on a plane, went down to visit, and realized that there was a lot of money doing this. And over a 5-year period of time, he built the largest real estate company in Panama, not knowing the language and not having all the paperwork set up straight initially. But he's just one of those people who just figures stuff out. He then went from doing that to buying into a warranty company. And the warranty company, he had some partners that necessarily everything didn't work out right. He ended up with a name, and was selling warranties like for high-end electronics and stuff. He partnership with another guy in Louisville to sell a bunch of other things, credit repair, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of how it all got started. And then he got the opportunity to work with somebody in Europe. And the only product they could sell in Europe was travel. And the story goes is for 3 years, they tried all this different stuff and it was okay. But when they launched travel in a 12-month period of time, travel did more business and made more money than everything he did prior. So guess what they decided to focus on? Travel. They started in Europe, built across Europe into Africa, Russia, Asia. And then last year, they started talking and they had done enough volume and said, you know what, in 2025, we need to launch into the United States and Canadian market. So you're hearing about this basically 4 months into their launch. The vision of the company is pretty simple, is basically to provide an opportunity for individuals to design a lifestyle, to be able to travel the world and basically make wishes, make dreams come true. That's what we're all about. Again, the company was founded by Yanni. He's the only one as an owner. It opened in 2013, operational, operates in over 150 countries. That right now we have over 500,000 users on our booking platform, and we have offices around the world: Hong Kong, the United States, UK, the UAE. And we are debt free. Now, this is very important, maybe not to everybody here, but specifically to people who have been in our industry and our profession before. There's a lot of companies out there who had all these side investors. And when you have side investors, what happens is the side investors don't care about the sales. They don't care about the people. They care about the end profit. And it just causes a lot of problems. So I just want to point out that this is debt free and there are no private equity. Yanni is running the whole thing. So, two companies. MWR Life is an exclusive invitation only travel and lifestyle community. And then Travel Advantage is a membership only booking platform. And I'm going to explain how these two companies work together. Now, the reason why I didn't want to talk to Michelle and I didn't want to see anything about travel is one thing I knew about travel is there's only two booking engines in the entire world that run the entire travel game. One of them is bookings.com, which you see here, and the other one is Expedia. Those are the two main booking platforms, and everything else that we know of in the travel industry, Orbitz, Kayak, Travelocity, are all white label copies off of those two booking platforms, which means when Kayak uses Expedia platform, they have to pay them a fee and they're a middleman. Then they have to pay for advertising and marketing and all this different stuff. And then we basically get our pricing. So all of that advertising, whether it's, who's the famous Star Trek guy? Now I can't think of his name. Help me out. Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk, was working for, I believe it was Orbit, and he was, the hired spokesperson and trying to sell. You're paying his salary every time you use their website, right? Because they had to pay him a bunch millions of dollars to basically advertise along with all the other companies. So one of the reasons I didn't like the industry is the trickle down effect. If Expedia or Booking.com changed something, that would trickle down, and I was just like, I'm out. Thankfully, Michelle said, would you please get on a Zoom with Ilian and Yanni? Ilian is the VP of sales. And I said, sure. And I explained that to him. And he said, here's what's interesting. That is how we started. And for 5 years, we basically increased and made a lot of money. And in 2018, we decided to use the money we had. We're like, what's the smartest use of all this money we've made? They said, what if we built our own booking platform? What if we own it? What if we're not bridging off of Expedia or bridging off of Booking? We'll just create the whole thing ourselves, which is a massive undertaking, millions of dollars, hundreds of people have to make phone calls and send paperwork and all that, but they got it done. They got it done. So Travel Advantage was born, and it's its own booking platform. So just real quick, here's how it works. Travel Advantage is our licensed travel agency. So this is also owned by Yanni. We own our own booking engine. So that means all the reservations and everything actually go through Travel Advantage. They don't go through three or four other people. They handle all the reservations. They handle all the customers. They handle all the calls and questions. And Travel Advantage, this is cool. Travel Advantage makes its money from the difference between wholesale and retail, just like any other business, which means Travel Advantage is where Yanni and his group make their money, him and all the employees, right? MWR Life was created because they said, well, what's the best way to sell all these, basically our travel is rather than hiring travel agents, we're going to make this an exclusive membership only travel agency. So they created MWR Life, and we only do two things here. We sell memberships to Travel Advantage, and we can recruit a sales force to sell memberships to Travel Advantage. So MWR is the marketing arm for Travel Advantage. We sell memberships. We can recruit, train salespeople. We provide basically a website and a back office for all of our travel ambassadors. And MWR makes its money from the memberships themselves. not from the trips, right? Which means all the money, because I asked him, I was like, how are you guys doing so well financially? Meaning the salespeople. How are the salespeople making this amount of money? He goes, well, all the money that comes from the memberships, we will pay out up to, that's keyword, up to 85% of every dollar that comes into MWR through the memberships is paid back in the form of commissions to the sales reps. 85%. Just to let you know how important that number is, the average across the board, if you look up the Direct Sales Association, the average is about 27%. Has to be. Guys, if you can mute yourself out if you haven't done so already, that would be really helpful. So 27%. So 85% versus 25% means you have to do less work here and make more money, right? So how does that work? Travel Advantage has won all kinds of agreements, and the International Travel Agency and the European Travel Association. We've got all the accolades. You can look up Travel Advantage. They've got their 5-star rating in the whole 9 yards. If you want to look up all these and research them all, we work with Ticketmaster and eVisa, and everybody's already approved us because we've been around 12 years. But we are new to the United States and Canada, which I'll get to in a minute. Now, this is a private platform, meaning we have the club itself. We have life experiences. I'll explain what that is. We have a lifestyle mall. If you remember what Sky Mall is, if you've flown in the past, remember that magazine where you could go in and you could buy a suit of armor or a sword from a movie. I mean, it was all like impulse buy stuff, but it was pretty high end stuff. They decided to create that same thing online. We're now using artificial intelligence that was launched last year. So now when you go to set up a trip, you're going to put in basically all your likes, wants, and needs. And if you happen to like baseball and hot dogs and, want to see Broadway plays, they will try to set you up. If you went to Louisville, they'll try to set you up next to Louisville Slugger Field and the best hot dog place and any place downtown that has shows. I'm not saying you want to travel to Louisville. It was just when I heard baseball, I thought Louisville because I'm in Indiana. Um, Also, hotels, resorts, flights, cruises, car rentals, because people are like, well, how big of an agency is it? It does all of this. Activities, transfers, trains, planes, and automobiles, tickets through Ticketmaster. So if you're looking to go through a show, and then flash deals pop up. The way I understand flash deals is when hotels are trying to book everything out and they have a window of rooms that are still available. Sometimes they'll discount those greatly, and we get the discount instead of giving those discounts just to travel agents. MWR or Travel Advantages passes it over to MWR Life, us, and we get those, the members get those advantages. So, what is the products we actually sell? If this is membership only, what does the membership look like? How much does it cost? And what does it cover? The first one is our VIP. This covers 6 things: hotels, resorts, flights, so trains, planes, and automobiles, basically, transfers, and activities. Sorry, I just want to make sure. Dawn, we're just going to mute you out. I see a bunch of other people jumped on. I will recognize everybody here in a minute. This VIP membership is $20 a month. So this is kind of like the taste. You can taste what's going on, but it's missing several things. The real good membership is this one right here, and we'll talk about in depth, but it covers everything else: hotels, resorts, flights, car rentals, transfers, activities, the lifestyle mall. This is where you can shop for really high-end stuff, life experiences, trains. This is where the cruises kick in, entertainment, and we talked about that in flash deals. So the elite membership is a 120. It's 120 activation, 120 a month. Um, I'm going to tell you about how you can take this 120 that you're paying in, and it's actually going to transfer into points that you're then able to transfer into dollars and take trips with. So I I don't know if I'm able to use this, but this is the analogy that I kind of came up with, is what this membership is doing is creating a travel savings account for you where this money doesn't vanish into thin air. You're actually able to use it towards trips, and I'll show you how that works. Um, Travel Advantage. So I actually took a picture of the actual travel our lifestyle mall, just to kind of give you an idea. So, everything from men's, women's, kids, a lot of high-end stuff, Gucci, Gucci, Prada, Michael Kors. I was looking at some high-end watches. Adidas is on here. You can buy shoes, you can buy bags, you can buy clothes, etc. I don't know about you, but I am going to do some damage on this website. And here's the cool thing. The money that I'm paying in for my membership, I can use on this site for discounts. So we'll go into how that works. The Turbo membership. All it does is a one-time thing. It's 250 one time, and all it does is it doubles these points. The initially you earn 250 when you first sign up. It also gives you 1,500 guest passes to jump on the website so that people can kind of get a taste of what's going on. The Turbo Hotel membership, giving you more discounts, apply up to 100 loyalty points for, guest booking. So it just gives you more availability, more points. Points transfer into dollars that you can use towards trips or towards our lifestyle mall. So I believe I'm 3 months in. I'm something like 1,200 some points in because you also get points when you recruit and sell. 1,200 points in. I was looking at a $1,200 watch. It's a deep sea diver. I think I have one right here. It's like a deep sea diver watch. I don't know if you can see this watch. It means you can go underwater up to 1,000 meters or something like that, similar to what a Rolex one is. With the discounts from the mall to begin with, is a $1,400 watch. With the discounts, it goes down to 400. With my points that I can use, the watch is $187. I'm not saying you should go on there, use that, buy that watch, and turn around and sell it online for $1,000. But I'm also not saying don't do that, right? So just another way to make money. Now, the Travel Advantage membership has a couple other benefits. Number one is it has 150 percent price guarantee. What that means is if you find a hotel booking and you book it and find it cheaper online through one of the major websites, you can take a receipt, you can send it into Travel Advantage, and they will basically match the price plus give you 50% off. So I don't know about you. I don't know anywhere you're going to be able to get that kind of a deal unless you own the hotel yourself or are best friends with the people who have the hotel and they just give you a room for free. 24-hour support. You can book online. Obviously, there's no blackout dates. You can do it kind of how you want to. Now, these life experiences, every 12 months, you can apply 100% of your loyalty points. Remember the points we're talking about? Um, on a life experience. Now, life experience are basically trips that the company has basically put together, and there's going to be only so many rooms available that they're going to get at a discount. So, Las Vegas was ridiculous. The Fountain Blue, a bunch of my friends just stayed there. We got their room was amazing. I don't even know where the heck this is. I know where Kazakhstan is, but I don't know where this particular city is. Cape Verde, Playa del Carmen is obviously in Mexico. Phuket, Thailand would be somebody said, "Are you going to Nice?" I said, "I think it's Nice, Nice, France." But look at the pricing per person to go to Vegas for, what was this, like 4 days, 499 a person. The deals are pretty incredible. We went ahead. I'm like anybody. I'm cost conscious. We went on and priced this against what was online. I couldn't find it cheaper. Um, I would say go on and try to find it yourself. This is not something that I'm trying to sell you. I'm just saying do your own research, right? What this means is if you just rack up these points and you can use them at the end of 12 months, you can go completely, when it says for free, it's basically you've just paid in advance. Does that make sense? You've created a travel savings account with these points and you're able to use the points towards traveling. So now you can just go on one of these trips. You just look up what's the best deal and when can I get away? Not only for you, but for one other person you want to bring. Now, that's kind of our product line, right? We've got our $20 membership, we have our 120 membership, and then you can add that one-time 250 to double all the points to rack up more points, get a better deal on trips. Lorraine is here. This is what the Travel Advantage website actually looks like. This is what our membership pays for. You do not have to create your own travel website. That's something that, is included in your membership that you're actually paying for and something you get as a rep of the company. You will get your own version of this branded to you. This is when I took my picture. I took this picture a couple of weeks ago. So I had 1,200 points racked up already, which would be the equivalent of $1,200 I could use towards different things. So we have the hotels, we have the flights, we have the cars, transfers. This is all the stuff we just went over. This is kind of what it looks like, our own booking engine. Um, Now, before I get into the money, I think it's important to note we are committed to basically transparency in all aspects of building this. There is no guarantee of income or promotion. Obviously, this is running and doing it yourself, just like an insurance agent, just like a real estate agent. They're not guaranteeing it. They're saying basically you can get your licensing to be able to do this, and then you can go out and work hard. We're not handing you anything. You are an independent contractor, which means you're 1099. It's up to you what you do. The nice thing is there should be, I say there should be because I don't know everybody's tax situation. You do need to contact an accountant or CPA or an attorney to see what you can write off and what you can't. But so far, I did the research right away. I made those phone calls and I was like, hey, can I write off 100% of every trip that I take so long as it's documented and I create advertising on the trip? And that's what they told me. They're like, yes, if you do this, this, and this. So I looked up everything that I'm supposed to do, and that's how we're setting things up. So that way I can tax write off everything that I'm doing everywhere I'm going. Work and results, obviously, there's no set hours, no set schedule, and no set quotas, which is really cool because for those of you who are looking to just do something part-time, spare time, this would be the ultimate way to do it. Run it from a laptop, cell phone, iPad. Educational resources support. All the training is available. It is not required. It's up to you whether you attend. Risk of loss, just like starting any business, you got to do your due diligence. I don't know how you'd really lose anything here other than the fact of you just don't participate and, join. And then compliance, we're going to comply with all the laws and disclosures that we're supposed to. Obviously, see the full income disclosure on here at MWR Life. They keep that up to date. So let's get into the money because I'm guessing that's why most of you are here. Live the life of your dreams by becoming a lifestyle ambassador. That's with MWR, global opportunity, international events. Those are the trainings. Obviously, we've got tools and training and all kinds of stuff online. The compensation plan is ridiculous. That's one of the reasons that I'm here. When I saw how this paid out and how much it paid out and how often it paid out, I was just like, this is a no-brainer. So I'm going to hit these 9 different ways to get paid. You don't have to memorize these. You don't even have to understand how it all works. I'm telling you, the money just starts coming in, but I am going to show you how that works in the basics. The first thing is customer acquisition. If you go out and sell a $20 VIP membership, you make $20. Well, that means they're paying out 100% commission. Yes. Yes, they are. This also translates into a point system so you can move up their chart. Secondly, is our elite membership. Our elite membership starts out, I say starts out because it goes up, starts out at $40. If you sell memberships, starts out at $40 and goes up. And then if you decide to add turbo, it adds another $40 to your $40 commission. So you'd make $80 by selling both the elite and turbo, $80 one time, but these all add up and there's more money to be made. Next, we have fast start bonuses. One of the things that they encourage you to do is get going quickly. So if you're able to sign up two people with the elite and um, enroll 2 additional elite members and receive a $150 bonus. So it says enroll 2 elite members in your first 14 days and you're going to earn what? $150. Well, that's not bad. And then it says if you achieve this bonus in your first 7 days, you'll qualify for another fast start bonus for another 7 days. So you can enroll another 2 people. So you enroll 2 members, another 150. That's on top of the $40 elite membership that you'd earn for both of them. That's 80 and 80 plus the 150. 7 days later, you do it again, 7 days later. So it'd be a total that you could earn of 450 on top of just selling the memberships. This is just to get you rolling quickly. I encourage everybody to do it. I was able to hit some of these bonuses. Michelle said, hey, take off right away. I did it. I'm not saying you have to do it, but it's available. Next is your residual membership. So Once you have 10 memberships on the books, they kick in an additional 10% off of the memberships you have. Well, what does a membership cost? If it's a basic membership, it costs $40, right? Well, what's 10% of 40? It's $4. That does not seem like a lot until you add up and understand. I have friends in networking that have 500 to 50,000, and I have a few friends that have 100,000 members on their team. 100,000 members. I have a friend personally that has somewhere in the neighborhood of like 800 personal memberships in something completely different. So if you're making about $5 for 800, I mean, wouldn't that be a nice residual income check that just comes in that makes your car payment, that maybe makes your house payment? Maybe puts you on a vacation once a year because you're like, well, I would love to vacation. These are all great deals, but I need the money to vacate. Well, here's how to do it. You show other people how it works. It moves to 15% at 26. At 51, it moves to 20. If you have over 100 memberships, it's 25%. 25% of, let's just say the basics, 25% of $40. 25% of 40 is 10, 10, 10. So imagine making an extra $10 for every membership that's on the books, a couple hundred memberships on the books. I mean, this does add up over time. Then we have the car bonus. This is by far the easiest way. If you guys are in a position where you're like, hey, I'd love to have a car, a new car, an extra car, a fun weekend car. Watch this, up to $500 a month towards an Audi, BMW, Mercedes. By the way, I do want to talk to Yanni and Alien about this, but I think we should add Lexus to this list just personally in the United States and Canada because I really like those two. $500. What does it take to do that? It takes a total of about 50 total membership sales in your, listen to this, in your organization. If you get three and then three people then turn into a total of 50, 50 is what it takes. If you just decide to take the money, they'll pay you $300. Because I asked them, I said, well, what if I just want to do this? They said, oh, well, or I'm sorry, 250. Or you can just take 250 cash. I'd rather have the 500 towards a BMW. Um, Next, how do you move up the chart to make more money? Well, it says silver, you just need three total elite slash turbo memberships. Three. To get to gold, you need 12. To get to platinum, you need 30. I think this right here is probably the core rank. This is where you start earning. Basically, you're earning daily money, you're earning bonuses, all this extra stuff kicks in here at Platinum. If you can get to Titanium, it gets really, really fun, and then it gets ridiculous from here. In the first 120 days, we've helped people go Emerald, Ruby, and there's a couple Sapphires, and I believe there's actually a diamond or two already. It's getting pretty ridiculous, and that's just in 120 days. They launched, write this down. They launched the United States and Canada in May. I saw this in late June, and there were just under 800 people involved when I talked to Ilian and Yanni. And right now, there's just a little over 3,000 people, which means we are at the very, 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 very beginning of this launch. Next year, we launch Mexico, then Central America, then South America. So you guys, you're seeing this before anybody's really seen it. Dual team residuals. This is what I love. Once you have three elite memberships sold, you start earning $4 a day the following month, $4 a day, which adds up to $120. And your elite membership is $119.97, basically 120. So with three elite memberships, you're at a break even. You're at a break even. We can't say free because technically you're still paying for it. But you're at break even. You actually don't owe anything now. So here's a question. If you want to get to break even, do you think in the next 3 days, 3 minutes, 3 weeks, could you find three people who also want to travel, save money, and go places and make money? Gold, once you have 12 people involved, that's $10 now a day or $300 a month. Not $1 million, but what happens if you add that to what else? That's just the residual. What if you add that to new sales? Could you get to 500 to 1,000? Probably pretty easily. Titanium 750. This is the number that I really like. This titanium, if you have 30 people on one team and 30 people on another team, you have two team captains. That means 30 and 30. I'm not really good at math, but that's more than 50. And how much 50 is what it takes to get the car bonus. So at titanium, not only do you hit titanium, but you also hit the car bonus. The car bonus is another $500. 500 plus 750 is over $1,200 a month coming in. Yeah, but you have to use it towards your car. Well, what if you put a sign on the car that says, learn how to get paid traveling? And now everywhere you drive, people are like, is that a new BMW? How did you get a car? How do you get paid to travel? You say, go to this website and watch this video, and then people want to talk to you. It doesn't mean they're going to sign up, but they're definitely going to call and ask how you're doing this. And then it just gets stupid from there. Here's the number that I like right here. Between Emerald and Ruby, what we're seeing is this is $4,500 a month. Does that say 9,000? It's 9,000 a month. So somewhere between 500 and 1,000 people are already crossing six figures a year. I'll just tell you from personal experience, the people I know that have gotten to six figures in any type of sales organization have to sell way more than 500 in direct sales. Now, if it's houses, it might be different. If it's insurance, it might be different. But we're talking about, $120 product that starts, making you six figures. It's pretty cool. Builders bonuses. When I told you before, as you move up, you get paid more. Watch this. If you hit silver, they add $10 to your $40. If you hit gold, they add $20 to your $40. If you hit platinum, they add $30 to every sale you're making. So now you're at 70. At titanium, you're now at $80 just for the elite membership. If you add the turbo membership, now you're at 80 and 80, 160 plus 80. You're now knocking down over $200 for every person that you sign up for both of these. $200 a person times five in a month is $1,000, guys. So people are like, well, how do I do that personally? Well, build a team, show other people how it works. And then it just gets stupid from there. I mean, all the way up to, 250, that's 100% payout. This this is dumb. This is not only 100% payout, this is 105% payout because the membership is 119, and you're getting paid $125 back. That's pretty solid. So the boost bonuses. It says boost bonuses can be earned every week. How often can they be learned? Every week. Once you're a gold or platinum rank or above, so gold is where it starts, earn $600 when six new elite or turbo members join your enrollment team at the gold rank in a given week. You can earn an extra $600 a week. Six and six is 12. And that's you plus your team. You plus your team. Earn $1,200 when 12 new elite or turbo members join your enrollment team when you're a platinum or above. 12 and 12 is 24. That's $4,800 that's available. It doesn't mean you're going to earn it every week, but if you get a team going, if you know how to sell and you know how to market and you know how to find people and you teach people how to do this, there's a ton of money. And remember, how many people does it take to get to gold? 12. How many people does it take to get to platinum? 30. Not a ton. Like this is something that even a new person with no background and no kind of experience could achieve and get to these levels. Like, and we're talking about some people could do it probably if you have influence and you might have already done something like this, you might be able to do it in 30 days. Some people might take 6 months, but let's say it even takes you a year. What if you were earning a couple $1,000s a month after a year? It'd be good. And again, there's no guarantee. I'm just talking about what's possible. The presidential bonus adds 20% to the second organization. So there's usually a bigger organization and a smaller. So this just puts 20% more money from your dual team, the second leg, whatever the smaller of the two is. 20% could be a lot, guys, depending on how big that is. And then you have rank advancement bonuses. So this is like at Platinum, you get a $300 life experience voucher that you can take a trip on. Presidential retreat, that means it's just paid for. Miami experience with the CEO, I would take 15 grand. That'll probably take a nice trip. Triple Diamond, 25. A luxury car at Black Diamond. And then it just gets stupid from there, right? Supercars and yada, yada, yada. This first list is so incredible. Um, the second list, we'll see what happens. Then we have recognition. You are recognized for every rank, whether it's on Facebook, in groups. This is one of the things a lot of people never get recognized. The only time you get recognized at work is when you screw up, right? Then you're recognized in front of everybody. Most people do not get any positive recognition anywhere, anywhere, school, home, work. So we do a lot of that. So what makes us different? just kind of wrapping up here. Travel Advantage, we own the booking engine, number one. Number two, we offer the best pricing with that 150% price match guarantee. Travel Advantage is a membership only, so that's unique. We're membership only, not a typical travel agency. Most typical travel agencies, you do not get paid until after the person comes back. If we sell a membership, we can sell a membership today, we get paid tomorrow. No private equity. It's completely owned by Yanni. We are ground floor. We're still opening new markets. Mexico next year, Central America, South America. You still have the ability to open an entire country. If you speak Spanish, ay caramba. And the rest of the world's still open too. I mean, you can build anywhere. MWR Life, what do? We sell Travel Advantage memberships and we recruit people who sell Travel Advantage memberships up to 85% payout. So the timing of this, the timing. When I saw the first direct sales network marketing company, I was over here with the skeptics because it had already been around for 50 years. There were already a couple million people involved, and everybody knew who it was. I saw another company, and I caught it when it had just around about 150,000 people. I was kind of right here in the middle. Then I was very fortunate in 2011 to see a company, and I saw it when it had 2,200 people. 2,200 people. I joined. It was about $100 to join that. And 3 years later, I had 20,000 people on my team. Here's what's interesting. I didn't work as hard there as I did in the big company that I started with, when I was 17. I didn't work as hard and it grew 25,000 times as fast. What was the difference? Was the difference how much it cost to get in? No, the difference was the timing behind it. I got in the front of the wave, not in the back. You're seeing this company when there's about 3,000 people. So if this chart represents a quarter of a million people, you guys are right here in this first little sliver of the enthusiasts, the first 2.5%. Statistically, to make big money in this industry, you have to get in and start building before there's 100,000 people involved in a company. That statistic is not my statistic; it's the Direct Sales Association statistic. So that's 100,000 before, because if it goes from 100,000 to 200,000 or 300,000, you have that massive growth chart. Imagine getting in at the very, very beginning when there's only a couple hundred or even a couple thousand people involved. If it gets to 100,000 or 200,000, what could your organization look like? The best time to plant a tree was obviously 20 years ago. The second best time is like right now. So if you want to wait around, right? If you want to wait around until this thing hits the middle and enough people are involved where everybody knows about it, it's not that there's not an opportunity. It's just you have to work 10 times as hard to get where you're going for less money. So this makes sense. So registration wise, what does it take to actually do this? We already talked about it's $99 to be a rep in the company. So you go online, you basically go to whoever user, sent you this, mwrlife.com/user/join. Whatever their username is, you put that in. And the first thing it's going to say is become a lifestyle ambassador. I elect to become this for $99 to promote the memberships and the business opportunity and able to earn commissions, right? 99 bucks. Secondly, you get active. What does it take to get active? Well, that's where the membership kicks in. The elite membership is the one for reps, one time 120 activation, and then 119 a month. Access to the 2000, travel deals, unlimited access to, Travel Advantage and the Lifestyle Mall. And then you get 120 points a month that translates into dollars that you can use, 50 guest passes as well. And then optional. I say it's optional. I mean, it's a good idea. We recommend it is to double your points. So that way you can go twice as fast. It adds more money to the comp plan. Everybody gets paid more, and then we take more trips, and obviously it goes better. But what does it do? It doubles your loyalty points. You instantly get 250, 1,500 guest passes, exclusive turbo membership hotel deals. So there are some deals out of this, and then you can apply 100 points for the second guest. So somebody else comes, now I get more money off if I'm taking somebody else. Personally, I signed up myself, and then you need two team captains, right? To start your two teams. So I put one of my best friends on the left side and I put my fiance on the right side. Yes, we both signed up. Why did we do that? Because in this company, you can build and what I would call double dip is we're going to earn a commission first. It's going to hit, that team that we build is going to hit her position and she's going to get paid off of. And then the next person in line is me. And then I'm going to get paid off it. So we're going to get paid twice for everything that we do. Do you have to do that? Absolutely not. But I'm like, I'm just going to take advantage of what opportunity they gave us. Wrapping this up, it's either 338, so basically 340 if you just get in with an elite membership, or you can do the 588 and change if you want to go turbo and get all the points. So, how does this work? What are the action steps? Become a registered rep, become active, get plugged in. I'm starting a fast start training every single Thursday at 9 p.m. for about 45 minutes. We're going to go over the basics of how to get rolling. Because if you're interested in doing this, here's the first two questions everybody asks. Who do I talk to and what do I say? So that's what the fast start training is really going to cover. It's also going to cover the comp plan a little bit more, how to move up, what that looks like, how to overcome some obstacles that you'll run into because there's obstacles in every business. Just kind of how to set it up and get rolling. How do you fit it into your schedule? You're like, hey, Jeff, I'm busy. I've got a career, I've got kids, I've got a dog, I've got the mail, I've got, groceries to get, I've got all this. How do I do this? That's what we're going to talk about in that fast start training. So get plugged in, get trained, and if you don't come to ours, there's a ton of trainings in this company. You just plug into whoever, wherever, get back with the person who brought you here, get trained, get a game plan, and then get paid and promoted. You need 3 people to break even. So, with that being said, I want to thank everybody, obviously, for being here. We've got a couple different people here. Rhonda, I'm just looking through this list here. Um, Yeah, I was going to pull somebody on, but I think they probably just boarded their plane to head to Dubai. So with that being said, does anybody have anything initially that they'd like to ask? Obviously, if you're a guest, get back with the person who brought you here. But if you're a rep and you're just trying to figure out, what to do, how to do, I just appreciate everybody for being here. We will be doing this every single Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you guys got a lot out of this. If you can, give me some feedback. I see messages here. Well, there's a bunch of messages. Does anybody have anything that they need to ask, want to ask? Going
I
once.
just want to say thanks a lot, Jeff. It was awesome.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Hopefully this is clear for everybody. This plan is generous. I'm just looking at what she has. Excellent presentation. Awesome, awesome. Great. Zoom, 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 zoom. Okay. So what we're going to do is wrap this up like a burrito. I know it's late. Get back with the person who brought you. I appreciate everybody for jumping on. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, direct message me, text me. If you don't have my number, I'll just give it out. It's 317 507 0744. Again, 317 507 0744. I appreciate everybody for jumping on. I hope everybody has a great evening. And if you got questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you. And that is a wrap.